This is lore accurate Halo to me. This is Halo at its best. This is it, baby.
Paramount. Knocked it out of the park, baby. Yeah! Ladies and gentlemen, what's going on? I'm Dan Mateo. I'm here with Gabriel Annan and Colin. Welcome to the Caffeine Duck Podcast. I'm going to let Gabe take it off from here.
Welcome to the Caffeine Duck Podcast. I am your host, Gabriel Annan, and today we will be reviewing the Halo Season 1 and partially Season 2 TV show. Boys, how do we feel about this show so far?
I hate it.
I went into it with already having heard some of the news about the show. So I already had pretty low expectations. Episode 1 went off pretty horribly, and I kind of had mixed opinions. There were some things that I did like, some things I didn't like, but for the most part, it's not great.
Here's kind of where I'm standing at with the show. Just to do like a recap and introduction, I don't think Halo Season 1, at its best, it was mediocre. And at its worst, it was a dumpster fire. So what the show does well, it does pretty good, but it's not enough to really set it apart from other TV shows that you would probably typically see on television. I would say the worst part of the experience for me was the ads. Oh my gosh.
Paramount,
what you doing? Paramount, what are we doing? What are we doing? Are you that scarce on money right now? Are we that low in the pocketbooks? Did you blow that much on the CGI budget for Halo? Who puts ads at the end of a show before the end credits roll?
I don't know. See, that was part of the issue for me. The amount of ad experience that we probably watched was over an hour or two?
Easily, yeah. It was. I was surprised. I didn't see that coming.
No, I would say Halo Season 1's timeline is what I mainly want to focus on. So I'm going to pull up the Season 1 on Paramount Plus's website right here, just to kind of get an idea as to which episode was what. Starting this out, Season 1 altogether, I would rate it about a 4. I will be honest. The good parts of the show were not enough to save the reboot altogether. And I really want to start out with episode 1. That being the Kwan storyline and the introduction to Kwan and Chief. I felt like while watching this whole TV show, we were in this state of watching two different sci-fi TV shows at once.
Oh, without a doubt. Focus on one. Focus on one storyline. What are we doing, man? I really don't care about anything that doesn't have to do with Master Chief. I don't care about somebody trying to go and find themselves. I don't care about a border skirmish turning into a giant journey. I want to see Master Chief just like all of the other Halo community members do. They want to see Master Chief kick some ass and take some names and go on an awesome journey. We don't need to hear about anybody else. I don't care about Kwan.
I want to say, not only did they do such a poor job linking the two stories together, it was so disjointed, but the Kwan segment on its own was just really poorly done, not engaging at all, and yeah, I was really confused anytime that we went to go revisit it, and it just left me with nothing when we finished up with the scene. Yeah. And we just totally disjointed, and I just, as soon as one of those segments popped up, I was like, get me out of here.
Yeah. Yeah. See, Colin, you and I, we binged this in like a 9-hour plus session. Yeah, we finished all of Season 1 and got to Episode 2 of Season 2. I'm caught up on Episode 3. I think you guys are still catching up to that.
That's gotta be. Just for everybody that's watching, I would hope that you give props to these two guys. I would have died. I would have jumped out of my sliding glass window. I would have found a way to myself on that block of pavement outside of my apartment. I would have found some way. I don't know how anybody can even get through 2 episodes of this series, let alone the entire season. And yes, it is a slugfest of just mediocre crap.
I would very much say that really sums up this whole thing. Halo Season 1 follows 2 different character timelines, and that's the Master Chief timeline and the Kwan timeline. At least that's what I'm going to call it. Kwan seems to be an entirely separate sci-fi show running on the side, and all I could really recall while watching it was like, oh, we're watching her again. I don't care for Kwan's story. I feel sorry for the actress in a weird sense, because like the acting team, the VFX teams, they did really well on this show, and they really botched it in the writing segment. Like the writing room must have been on some kind of tripping LSD amphetamines, or I can't describe to you just like what her journey was, and it was a drag. The story just seemed to have it took Kwan and it went from all the way from A to Z. The only payoff being her family's a protector of the portal to find the Halo rings.
Which means absolutely nothing, because the Forerunners were that, even though they were long dead, their sentries were still on duty in the first Halo game, in Combat Evolved. When he first encounters like all of the new stuff on the Halo ring, when he goes and finds the Oracle, that's all Forerunner technology. And you're asking, oh, well, we need to have another gatekeeper. No, we don't. Everything that was in your story was self-contained. You didn't have to add anything to it.
So if you guys don't recall, like Halo Combat Evolved, the first game, picked up as finding the Halo ring was a complete and utter accident. Yeah. It was a slip space malfunction. But how are you feeling about the Kwan storyline, Colin?
I honestly, anytime that we got dragged into that storyline, I just wanted to end. Something that I just kind of had on my mind was like, if we're following kind of the Spartan storyline, like, and we like plot out points that they hit within their whole their storyline, all the little different nooks and crannies and paths that they went. Let's say they hit like A through Z. When it came to Kwan's storyline, it felt like she went from like A to B. Like that's how much little content was actually contained. Nothing happened. Yeah, nothing happened.
There was no payoff for Kwan's character, and if you ask me, if I was to stay within the parameters of what you guys wanted this TV show to encapsulate, I would have replaced Kwan entirely and have told the story from the Arbiter's perspective during the war before the fall of Reach. I feel like getting the Covenant perspective would have been a better use of screen time than what they put out here. I get that Halo is starting to become a human story, but in this case scenario, it doesn't work. The Master Chief story is an entirely different animal altogether. Yes. We're going to start out with the episode 1 sequence. Yeah, it looks like you already have a lot to say. Oh my God. The show kicks off with action sequences that are really strong. I would say like it's actually probably some of the best VFX in television. Yeah, for what its budget was.
I was gonna say, I mean, like, here's the thing, Paramount. I think you did blow your budget on the VFX, because, I mean, don't get me wrong, and this is why I'll give the show a better rating other than absolute 0. And that because the exceptions are the VFX artists and people that were in the production team for that side of the show, because they made everything look really good. Everything was really accurate. We had finally a live action Warthog. We had all of the Covenant ships. We had Corvettes. We had drop ships. We had everything. And then you introduced the story, and it all fell apart. So 30 seconds. I don't even know where to begin. I don't know why the Covenant would even attack a group full of just regular people that were doing what? I don't know what. And like, I don't get it.
Let's talk about the Rebel faction for a little bit.
Yeah. The entire basis of like they're coming into being like the guardians of the Halo ring to some extent. I don't care. We already have the Forerunners. I don't know why we got to add this human journey to everything. You can make good storylines without trying to put, well, this is how I feel about it. I don't care how you feel about it. You already have a good story. I don't know why they attacked them, and it was the only reason that it happened was to introduce Master Chief in the first episode, within the first 5 minutes of that episode. It's just horrible storyboard writing for me.
I would kind of agree. Like, Chief coming in to save the day for a rebel faction that we don't necessarily care about, I feel like that could have been completely replaced with something else. Again, if we were to rewrite this, I would replace Kwan, which that would take out that whole sequence entirely.
You'd have to get rid of the whole first episode, as far as I'm concerned. I say scrap it. I think after the first episode, things started to pick up, and they actually started to kind of experiment with some existing lore, and trying to do, I guess you would say, like their adaptation of Halo. But the whole first episode is just really lazy plot devices and absolutely miserable motivations for the characters. Almost entirely across the board. It's really lazy. Yeah, it's really, really lazy. It's just to introduce Kwan. It's to introduce the Spartans, to create tension or drama with Kwan and her dad. The motives of the Covenant are really stupid. The attention of the Spartan, so that the dad ends up dying. I mean, all of it was just lazy plot devices, one after another.
They could have explained. It's so funny how they over-explained in sub-regions for things that are irrelevant to the story. And then they introduce the Covenant, and they give us almost zero explanation for why the Covenant are doing anything. They're like, well, they're just here to kill people. They're here for the rings. It's like, why are they here for the wings?
Did they annihilate that planet that they were on in the beginning sequence? Did they do it or not?
Yeah, I have no idea. But they do all of this leading up with this Kwan character and giving her this crazy backstory, and then be like the main enemy of the Halo series besides the Flood. They're like, oh yeah, the Covenant are here. Well, why should I care? You haven't given me anything. You just said, well, it's the Covenant. It's the Covenant. It's the Covenant. Why? Why? Specifically, there was another scene to compare it to where it was I think it was Dr. Halsey and a group of the other Spartans, and they were talking about Master Chief, and literally they were like, well, you shouldn't trust everything that he says. He's been going up deep, and why would you trust him so much? And one of the Spartans literally goes, because he's the Master Chief. And it's like, oh my God, shut up, because he's the Master Chief.
It seems like prior to the beginning of season 1, Chief is already installed. He's already installed his legacy as being a big hero in the UNSC controlled spaces. I do want to skip on to that scene in episode 1. No. I would say the removing of the helmet. I don't agree with that. I don't agree with him taking off his helmet.
Oh, it's literally the Mandalorian all over again. The f***ing risk. What, dude? Okay. He's being threatened with a gun, to which he responds, "You can't kill me because of the armor that I'm wearing." Then takes off his
spoiler alert, by the way. Too late for that.
in the first episode, yeah.
I cannot believe the way. So I don't mind removing Chief's helmet. What I do mind is that it was a throwaway. They really should have used that as a moment to emphasize something big happening, or it should have been used as a payoff. And they use it as just a gaining of trust from opposition forces, which
doesn't make sense.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense, especially in the context that was in the scene going on. How did you say it? How that was? You had this funny thing.
Yeah, they were just I could shoot you. This is Mark 6 Mjolnir armor with reinforced titanium. You can't even dent this. Takes the helmet off, and he's like, so make sure you shoot right here. And it's like, you idiot! What do you... Oh!
Yeah.
My reaction. Yeah, it's the context of the scene. Once again, it's God. I don't know. Almost have no words. It's once again just really really poor execution, and the context of the scene only makes it worse.
Yeah.
It's to gain trust of somebody, that what actually gained the trust was the conversation that he had with her anyways, and then the risk of removing the helmet when there's a threat present. Good Jesus.
Yeah, I felt like the removing of the helmet should have been like a moment. Like the Mandalorian did it right, where it's like it was kind of.
I mean, I would even say like the Mandalorian, like as far as what is it? The origins of why the Mandalorian show was made and where it technically comes from, if you want to subtract the lore, which I know these writers did at some point, even though like the first season of Mandalorian was good, it was the fact that like even for me, like halfway through the season, removing the helmet, and it's like, okay, you are removing the mystique and the intrigue from a character that is integral to the plot point. And you need to be able to keep some of that mystery because you want to be invested in this character. If I know he's just like me, I don't give a shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want somebody interesting. I go to watch movies and to watch TV shows to escape reality. I don't want to be reminded of it, you know?
Yeah, I feel like I didn't mind the removing of the helmet. It's just the scenario that they did it in. Leading into the second episode being Chief. Remember this whole sequence just made no sense to me. I am going to go visit my Spartan buddy in an asteroid belt where I like, to be honest, I don't think even the UNSC knew where that pirate dude was. How did he know where? What's his name?
Oh, that's a good question.
Okay. Yeah. Like I don't know. There are a lot of forgettable characters, but let's talk about that pirate sequence in the asteroid belt. I don't like the direction of the story from that point onward. There were a lot of forgettable characters. That's where the new sci-fi show really started at.
That's where we split off and go. That's where we split off and we take the two separate shows and run them side by side.
Yeah.
That have nothing to do with each other, and that's just a horrible decision.
Yeah, not related whatsoever, and they never collide toward the end of the season. It's just there.
Yeah, there's no glue holding them together. No. So you go through this entire series, this 9-episode series of them being together for maybe an episode's worth of time, and then the rest of it is just bouncing back between these two stories. And I'm going to say it outright. I don't know how you guys feel, but I think Master Chief got side in his own series. Like, he became a side character because they wanted to focus so much on the human connection. This is going to be like the Transformers animated series where it's like we got the little human sidekick along with it. It's like, no, stop. You have an integral character. Just make a good story around it.
So this is like for the art team, right? This one got me. It's the carts that they go from asteroid to asteroid in that little belt area. What is this hook? This was like Harry Potter level. When they like Chief and the whole team, they're like on that little go-kart, and then it like goes into space and it gets like this. It's like a magical hook that instantly gets into the line once it's in the dead middle of space. And I'm like thinking to myself, this does not look Halo themed. I am very much in the sequence in Harry Potter, the Sorcerer's Stone, where they're like he's like discovering his family riches in the basement of the bank.
Yeah, exactly.
Like that's what that was. And it wasn't Halo to me. It wasn't the ultra military sci-fi that I was used to. It went from military sci-fi to Harry Potter sci-fi.
Well, and it's basically it's just military Star Wars. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's military Star Wars that has absolutely no direction, too, because they were like, okay, well, here's this cool IP that we can have with this crazy character that at one time, mind you, 343 Industries, your original company that sold this to you to make the fourth game, Bungie, had the highest grossing video game of all time at the time that Halo 3 came out. I think it was around 2007, I want to say. Highest grossing video game of all time at that point. Like, That's crazy. You know what I'm saying? And that just proves that, oh, well, he got to take his helmet off. He got to be human. He got to be able to connect. No, he doesn't. Game of the year, baby. What are you talking about? What you talking about? We got that in the bag, bro. What you talking about? And so it's just this whole like space opera that doesn't need to be there. We got 2 characters with 2 stories that don't need to be there. Just make it about Master Chief. I don't care about the other ones.
There was actually one cutscene from, I can't remember, was this Halo 2 or Halo 3, where he actually does take his helmet off, and it's at the very end of the game, and you don't actually...
It's Halo 1.
It's Halo 1.
Yeah,
It's Halo 1.
Halo 1, and then it's also, I believe it's also Halo 3.
It's just chest down, and you see the helmet get set to the side, and he's sitting in his ship by himself, and I guess it's, it's a bit of this contemplative moment. It's, the calm after the storm, I guess you would say. Yeah. And that's it. That's all you get, because the whole rest of his entire character is, well, you described it best.
They're not looking to retell the Halo CE story or the Bungie franchise. It is very much a reboot. And personally, I think Halo's been in for a reboot for a long time. But I actually would have based the TV show on the books and the games. Because like now we're entering TV territory, we don't have to be as intense. I actually would have kicked off season 1 starting at the beginning of CE, Halo, the first game. Yep. And then I would have had flashbacks to Master Chief's childhood during training. I really would have ended this on the how I would have ended season 1, as a matter of fact, is there's a sequence in the Fall of Reach, the books, and I've read that book. And if you guys haven't like watched a bunch of Hidden Xperia, or like they even have like a short little cartoon film that 343 made, it's literally Chief outcompeting the rest of his team in like some sort of maze goal that the UNSC did when they were kids. And they should have, and the goal was to get your team there, but Chief won it solo and his team lost because of it. Because Chief was way ahead of the ball game. And I think that encapsulated the first Halo game perfectly. I would have had him remember that as he's on the ship leaving Halo, because all of his buddies just died on the ring. Yeah, exactly. He was the only one to make it out and won, but it cost him everything. Yeah. In this TV show, he was side charactered. He was already like established as like a living legend, but I'm going off the rails a little bit too deep here.
That's the thing is like they treat it as like, oh well, it's the Master that scene where they're like, well, don't you think you should question him from time to time? Yeah. Ma'am, he's the Master Chief. And it's like, so if he's the Master Chief, why isn't he the main character?
All right, so that's the other thing. I want to like moving on with the entire sequence. I am gonna go right into episode 3, and I think episode 3, this is where they start introducing like Kai's character. So this had a couple of stupid parts to it, and if I'm wrong about the episode, just let me know in the comments. But it's the bathroom scene. Like, you not only took off Chief's helmet, you took off everything else. Master Cheeks. Yeah. It is now synonymous on the internet. Like, there is no reverting that. Like, he is forever Master Cheeks. What's that actor's name that plays Chief?
The one that's doing it right now. I can't remember his name. He's actually a really, really good actor. He's done a lot of like good projects in the past. But that's what I'll say as far as like have some grace for the actors at some point, unless they openly espouse things like on the internet and start going crazy. Just take it with a grain of salt. It's a job at the end of the day. Yeah. My beef is with the screenwriters completely and totally. And Master Cheeks out in the bathroom, let me remove my emotional chip for whatever reason, and then having that be the catalyst for Kai's character to do the same thing and be like, well, I saw him do it, and, why aren't we free? Why shouldn't we be free? And it's like, because you're devoid of emotion, you fucking idiot.
Yeah, so that's another. So this is like the big part.
Yeah. Well, I kind of liked Kai, Kate Kennedy's character, but and I like that they gave her a little bit of consequence in the battle for having removed the capsule.
That shit was funny.
That was true. That was very that was accurate.
I was like, okay, I think that was a good decision, but I think, like you said, the catalyst for her taking out was just seeing John do it. There's not enough there. That to me, and and it goes back to what I said about episode 1. Is there's just a lot of lazy plot devices and really poor motive to get the show moving in the direction that they want it to go.
Yeah. That Kai sequence really confuses me. So I actually like her as a character. I don't like her introduction as to the motive behind taking out the chip. Because here's the thing. Chief touched the Forerunner relic that gave him feelings like he felt something for the first time in years, probably, right? And all of the sudden, he feels emotions, and he knows what emotions are, which motivated him to remove the chip from his back. Kai doesn't have that. And she sees Chief cutting his back open as still an emotionless robot, but somehow figured, you know what, I'm going to do the same thing.
Yeah. Beep, boop, blorp, this seems logical. No, it doesn't. People are talking about like, well, he gained the ability to understand that he has emotions. With a pill, a chip in his body specifically designed to suppress all those emotions, it's like you said, it's just lazy plot writing.
Well, okay, so to me, the chip makes sense. What doesn't make sense was Kai's motive to remove it. That's where that
makes sense for either of them.
Yeah. I mean, well, no, because Chief touched the relic and he got the feelings. So I will defend that. I will defend that. But Kai's motive, just seeing him do it, and she's like, you know what? I'm gonna do the same thing. What is that? Like, it's and this is something I said earlier. Is this like a telling of like the Adam and Eve story? Like the disobeying of what you're supposed to do? Is that just like naturally built in women? I don't know.
I have no idea.
Like, what are you trying to tell with that? Now, I think if you threw her against a wall and it broke on her back, like maybe her back hit like a corner or something, that would make more sense to me.
Actual plot-telling device. If you want to make it convenient, do something like that.
And have it threaten her life. And she's feeling all these emotions for the first time while she's completely physically broken. Like, that's the way I would have told it. But she's like, yeah, you know what? F*** it.
Well, he did it. Why can't I do it?
Yeah, pretty much.
I'm just looking.
Okay. The creation of Cortana, the Cortana manifestation on the screen.
Oh, yeah.
This is another thing for me. I don't understand how it's not the same studios, I do know that. Cortana has a very Facebook meta human vibe to her. Like, I feel like I'm in like the Facebook VR room or like that Apple VR. Like, have you seen those like uncanny, poreless faces? That's what Cortana looks like to me. And she's not entirely blue. Like, she has like, it's like a very cooled. It's like I took the cool toner on Adobe Premiere and I turned it way down on her skin.
Yeah, and I would say, like, I'm going to give props to the VFX artists at all times because they're the ones that are putting in these man hours. Them, and then to a certain extent, the actors. The actors have a dedicated period to be able to get this stuff done, but the VFX artists always get screwed, especially in the industry. And so, like, as far as Cortana goes, it is Uncanny Valley, but I will give them the fact that it's like they were able to do this on a small screen budget, which is pretty impressive to be able to pump this out on a TV line schedule. But with that out of the way, screenwriters, why did you not make her just all the way blue? Like how she is?
That's not a screenwriter thing.
It's somebody's decision.
It was somebody's decision in the viewing room.
I know it wasn't the VFX artist. You want to know why it wasn't the VFX artist? Because all the VFX artists are Halo fans.
Yeah.
That's why they're here in the first. I can guarantee you at least 80% of those are all like, oh, yeah, dude, I played all the games and stuff like that. I mean, this is kind of a crappy job because I have to do this to them, but, I'm still getting paid. I guarantee you that it's like the only people that are doing this are people that don't understand the Halo story.
Yeah. I think the VFX team did super well in this for whatever budget that they were given. I should do a little bit more research into that because now I'm like uber curious. So I'm not going to claim to know anything. But yeah, I am not arguing it with it. The VFX were great. The sets were great. The ship is actually real. The interior of that Pelican, whatever it was.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they actually built that. That's a real set. That's a real set piece, as well as all the guns and it's all real set pieces. So there was some real money thrown into this project.
Yeah, I would have to agree. I don't have any complaints in that area. I mean, again, it runs into the same issue as a lot of movies and TV shows nowadays, which is it really comes down to screenwriting and kind of poor choices.
Yeah. So speaking of, I think like there was only a couple of locations like in the VFX or like the set piece department. There is this one portion that you had me laughing when you spotted it because I never saw it. Like, can you describe to us, Colin, like what you saw?
So I don't know how or why I just had eagle eye that night, even though we binged through the entire series in one night. I don't recommend. There was two. First one was Halsey. First time she's coming into the room that's housing the body of Cortana. If you look closely at the top of that door as it's opening, you can just kind of see it like jiggle. It's for like yeah, you gotta.
It's real. It was real. I had the big freaking TV in there to prove it.
Oh, there's no way, dude. That's crazy.
I didn't even have to walk up to it. I was like, oh my gosh, he's right. It's right there.
Considering like the set and the scenery, this highly well machined, it makes it all that much funnier. And I'll highlight one more that I noticed is God, which battle is it? Oh no, it's okay. It's
5 or 6.
It is before they get attacked by the Covenant when they are preparing to load both pieces of the artifacts.
I think that's Reckoning.
It's when Chief notices that Kai dyed her hair and he pulls her aside to talk to her.
Yeah.
So Chief does like a really smart pulls his helmet off from the lid and kind of grabs it from the top, whereas Kai
Right here at the cap.
Kai, I noticed, squeezes her helmet a little bit too hard, and you can instantly tell that it is some sort of flexible rubber or plastic. I was like, up.
The Leonardo DiCaprio.
That was me the whole show. I was like, other than that, everything looked really good. Yeah, explosions, other VFX, and I think the costume design, I thought all that looked really good.
Hey, can I say one thing in that same scene? I didn't notice that. I was too busy enjoying myself because for once, Master Chief acted like Master Chief. Being like, "That's true. Take your helmet off." Just like, is that fucking gun grease in your hair? Like it's and then she's like, "Well, yeah, I just I felt like," and he's like, "Nah, bro, you're sitting bench. You're sitting bench side right now. You ain't doing this."
Put her away.
Yeah, and it's just like, oh my god, finally somebody has like some competent decision making. I'm sorry, if one of my top military assets went to the fucking gun locker and was like, oh my god, this is so unique. This is so unique. I would lose my shit at that point. Thank you, at least if you're not going to do anything else in the series, thank you for the one scene where Master Chief does act like Master Chief.
Okay, yeah. I actually thought that scene was super funny when I first watched it too. And then when she's absorbing all the combat going on around her and she has zero idea how to take it all in. Yeah. That was realistic to me. It's like, oh yeah, now she's actually feeling Warzone PTSD or something for the first time in her life. This is going really well. And Kai is a character I could actually keep watching. Besides her questionable beginning, I feel like I can keep watching Kai. I cannot watch Kwan. I cannot do it. What a botched opportunity of screen time. It should have been Thelvadamine and the Arbiter and the perspective from the Covenant. I'm going to preach this to the moon. I don't care how many times I repeat myself on this. It's
storyline.
What, Kwan?
No, not that. Nah, dude. The story of the Arbiter and the constant if you want to know how to do two storylines at the same time, Halo 2. Halo 2 does it masterfully.
So, this is something I need to preach right now. Halo 2 is probably the best dialogue written Halo game in the entire series. Not in terms of gameplay, but I can watch those cutscenes forever. For me, it's like watching House MD. Yes.
Oh, yeah.
I was mentioning this in the car, where it's like the act of conversation is an art. That's what Halo 2 kind of felt like for me, especially in terms of the Covenant.
Especially in terms of the Covenant, I like to this day remember being impressed with how much depth they put into God.
I remember like almost all the opening lines
dude.
from the second game.
I was gonna say, just like on the blood of our fathers, on the blood of our sons, we swore to uphold the covenant, even to our dying breath. And it's like, and then he pulls the arbiter aside, and he's like, "But these are my elites. You're like, their lives matter to me. Yours does not." And I was like,
I would say that makes two of us. Like that's the kind of writing that you can remember. And the show, for a TV show, for portraying Halo, boy, I don't remember a single line of this thing. I don't.
What's you one thing? I don't know where it's going.
I need a. Okay, so we do need a rush error battery low. Okay, good to know. Good to know.
We can always
I
do
got
a part 2 of this
well,
next week.
I already got another battery right there, so it's fine. It's still recording. We're still going.
Sweet.
Oh, we still got some time. All right. Moving into the next episodes, which Homecoming. I could have really gone without that.
Oh my god.
I really could have gone without Homecoming. I don't think that was necessary. Here is where the show does really well, is Halsey. The show does Halsey and depicts Halsey, in my opinion, pretty accurately. She's out for her own intention.
I would say yes, from the standpoint of her intentions, yes. For how she acts as her character, no. Because for one, Halsey is not British. I'm sorry. British accent, no thank you. Yes, she was. Yes, she was. Yes, she was. You can look it back. The actor that is doing it has like a slight British accent. And the other thing is, Halsey is an incredibly Halsey is an incredibly stone cold character, and that's what makes her so like evil in this whole series, is because the way that she enters the room and kind of like the interrogation scene in Halo 4, right? Where she's talking about why the Spartans were created. She is fully, 100% for all of her convictions. She has no regrets. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, to see that and to see kind of like this weird kind of aura of her being like really happy and jovial sometimes, then not. It's like, dude, Halsey is a monster that just so happens to be a scientist. Like, she's given like the worst possible opportunity for power, and she just like takes that and runs with it. That's why the Spartans are here. And it's like, I don't know, I was missing that stone cold demeanor from her, and I wish that I had that.
Yeah. I don't know. I still think that the show did her well. Like, she's probably her being the puppet master throughout the whole thing. Like, this is the kind of the side of the Oni UNSC drama that I was wanting to see from Halo, as like a lore buff.
Like, just her demeanor, her personality.
I think that, once again, coming back to the people developing the show, I think the direction they went with trying to portray Halsey as almost being this this woman who brainwashed and pretended to basically like raise the Spartans, and then also had this relationship with like her husband and her daughter, and trying to like balance that as a part of her character, while also portraying her as how she just had to spend too much time balancing her trait as a mother, and they didn't really show that monstrative side of her until the end, when she was interviewing her daughter, and even then she was still so sympathetic, but was like, this is who I am. I'm sorry that wasn't a good enough mother for you as a daughter, and I see that now, but like, I'm just like ruthlessly this person, and like that'll never change. But she had to like this episode that you didn't with Homecoming, and I think my issue with that is the episode went on for so long, like doing this whole unraveling of like, let's lift the veil of Halsey isn't your mommy, and she actually kidnapped you as a child, and it's like, we could have fucking guessed that. Like we all know. Yeah, I was just saying I really felt like they dragged out that episode of, I mean, they're walking around outside and inside the house forever to just basically get out that he was kidnapped by Halsey as a child, which at this point, pretty much anybody watching the show has to have enough brains to have put 2 and 2 together.
Yeah, by this point.
So long. Unnecessarily long part of the plot.
So I'm gonna really argue. Out of all the episodes in this series, Homecoming was the worst one for me. It was the worst one. I would actually rather watch a Kwan sequence than watch Homecoming. And this is where the TV show kind of spiraled downward for me. I don't think that we needed this sequence of Chief trying to find himself in order to figure himself out.
Yeah, because they go back and forth on this confusing journey of, Chief needs to find himself, but he's also already the Master Chief. Yeah. So it's like we got both of these things going on at the exact same time. So it's which is it? Is it does he know who he is, or is he already who he is supposed to be? Like I don't understand which one we're trying to do, but all I can chalk it up to is, again, Paramount, got to talk to your people, lazy writing. You can't keep doing this and expecting people to watch this and then complain on the internet that nobody watches your show. Yeah. I'm sorry.
So this is a 54-minute and 33-second episode. I'm being super specific. Yeah,
turn the volume down. Put it
to it wasn't recording that, was it?
No, it's not recording that.
It's just recording this audio. Yeah, I got to be super careful with that because like I don't want to get a copyright strike.
No.
So
it's coming through here.
Yeah, I have my Paramount Plus account pulled up on my laptop here so I can like quickly like skim through the entire timeline and be really quickly reminded as to what the episode was about.
Yeah, we got to skip through the episode.
Just watching you scroll through all the titles of this episode right now, I am just having such a miserable flashback.
This is probably the worst. This is probably to me the worst episode. And then you also have the Kwan timeline, which every time Kwan comes up on the scene, dude, I'm just like, God, you're going to make me watch this again? I don't want this. I don't want her story. I don't care. This is like not good sci-fi. Oh, you know what? I was talking to my one of my dev buddies, Javier. Shout out to Javier. He put it so perfectly. This dude like helped do the VFX for the OG Modern Warfare 1 games. He said it like this. This is VFX, or I mean, those sequences look like they belong on the Sci-Fi Channel. Yeah. I could not have said. He said that was the best way I could have that he ever really could have put it to me. Yeah. Because like that's what it feels like. That's exactly like what it feels like. I feel like I'm watching like an old episode of Stargate SG-1 or something.
Yeah.
Like
just some weird out of pocket shit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And it doesn't work. Episode 4 to me never happened. Moving into episode 5, I'm just gonna pull up the timeline here.
Yeah. Only good part of that was the final battle. That's about it.
Yeah. I would say the battle sequences are the only things worth watching in this show.
But like,
and then it's
look at it, right? The VFX look good.
We're looking at Kwan talking to an elite here. And you know what gets me is that not Kwan, sorry. McKee.
Sorry,
Kwan.
Another forgettable character. Sorry.
That's actually probably what we should start talking about now is the character of McKee.
Mickey or is it Mackie?
I don't know.
I heard it all 4 different ways. Yeah. I'm pretty sure it's McKee or it's McKee, but I kind of heard a bit of McKay. I heard it pronounced.
Is it MCKEE?
It's MAKEE. Makee.
Oh, Makee. Mackie.
It's the word make with an E on the end. That's
Okay.
how creative we're getting on this show.
I don't care.
Well, I don't care.
Okay, so episode 5. This is not home.
Oh, yeah, I was watching this earlier today.
Yeah, okay, so episode 5 where they're exploring more of the relics. Kwan is abandoned by the Spartan. She's tied to a bike.
Yeah.
More sci-fi that I don't need.
Oh,
Not the good kind.
Can I say?
It takes 18 minutes to get to the good parts.
I was going to say one of the best scenes in this episode is when Kwan, they go back to her when she's already tied up, and she's going... like trying to get out of the restraints, and it's just like, and it's just like, what are you doing? Sounded like a feral macaw trying to like charge my spirit energy. You know what I'm saying? And it's so bad. And then the crazy because powerful. Am I right? Powerful and independent. She breaks chain link restraints that's tied to a motorcycle off of just pure screaming.
The motorcycle broke.
Oh, the motorcycle broke? Oh no.
No, so she broke like a fender fairing, I guess you would basically call it, almost like, or kind of like she broke off like a 1/4-inch gauge steel fender fairing, just broke it in half with the rocks that were crumbling in her hands.
Yeah, and it's I'm not a geologist. I guess this geology study of rocks, right? Or ancient. Okay, look, I'm not going to talk about subjects that I don't know, right?
Rocks.
But I'm pretty sure rocks like that are not going to be strong enough to break that level of aluminum or steel. No way in hell.
No, dude.
But that's not what this episode features. She just gets tied, and the rest of it is all the fight on, what is this planet? Meridian? I don't remember this planet's name.
It's unimportant.
This attack sequence was so gold.
I was gonna say
This was Halo to me.
Yeah.
And this is also where they do the payoff for the consequence of her taking her capsule out. So there was kind of a couple of good things after.
Kai, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The consequence for the battle was awesome.
Yeah, the battle sequence itself is absolute fire. I love this battle sequence. I wish Master Chief would keep his helmet on his head, but we can't have everything. But this battle sequence is so good. The VFX mixed with the practical effects, the practical explosions in this scene are god tier. Like especially Captain Keyes. The first scene that you see him once they're in the thick of the battle is he's calling on one of his like captains or soldiers or whatever, and he's like in the middle of that. One of the rounds goes off right behind. I'm not 10 feet away, right behind him, and it's a practical effect. And he does the whole. He's like that because it's real. And I was like, okay, that is awesome. Like that to me is a good attack sequence. I like what they do, and I like the understanding of kind of like how alien warfare looks, and I think they got that right because again, these VFX developers, they love Halo. So if anything's going to be done right on this show, it's going to be the battle sequences where it's entirely reliant on CG.
It takes so long to get there.
Oh yeah.
It takes like what? We have to be like how many episodes in? It only gives us a fight sequence in like the first episode, the other episodes up until which one am I on? Episode 5. That's
Like
when
that,
we start.
Right there. You see that? Go back just a little.
Well, we're not showing this on the screen, so I
No,
don't.
what I'm saying is like you can skip to the bet. It's when Master Chief is hanging on to the what's it called? I am so brain dead right now. The Covenant glider. Is it just the Covenant?
Banshee.
The Banshee. When he's hanging onto the Banshee and he just fucking like shark riding into a volcano type sequence, throws it into a dropship.
I think the Magnum punched through the frame of the ship.
Yeah, yeah.
He used its avionics to like bend it with
Which is like it's like, all right, finally, Master Chief is here in the flesh. Like that whole scene, I love the physical mechanics of him hanging onto that Banshee and just at lightning speed, just socks that drop ship and just, it's so cool.
This was like lore accurate Halo.
I was gonna say that it's when we get to the action sequences. I feel like the action sequences in this show are where we get the closest to the games in the entire show.
Oh, you know what? This is just a clip to piss off the internet, right?
Yeah.
All right, so this is how I'm going to start the video right here. You ready for this? This is lore accurate Halo to me. This is Halo at its best. This is it, baby. I am so happy.
Bro.
Oh, it's Paramount.
This show, Paramount, knocked it out of the park, baby. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, it's like with Chief jumping on the Banshee and trying to hijack it, and because we had so many moments that it was like, okay.
Somebody in this whole thing knows something about Halo.
Yeah, somebody did.
Yeah, and it really was only the action sequences, and then we get back to so much other bullshit.
Yeah. Let's hang on. I'm gonna make sure our audio's still good. Okay, perfect. We need to go into episode 6, and this is like a quick recap of like just the funny things we spotted. Oh wait, there was this one scene I did want to talk about in an earlier episode when Cortana is about to get she's gonna go from flesh body to AI. I want to talk about this dude that leans in. He's like about to kiss the Flash clone, and I'm like, what are we doing? What are we doing here? This is disgusting. I know we're working with a bunch of scientist freaks here, but I'm so happy they killed this character, dude. I was just like, get this dude out of here.
That scene threw me. I didn't see it coming at all.
It was so left
field. It was so left field, so short, and so random. And I love that like somebody walks in as just like, yeah. I was like, what the fuck just happened there?
Yeah, dude. I remember watching this because I'm in the middle of doing my job in the middle of an airplane wing, right? And all of a sudden, like. Like I hear like this weird music going on, and I look over, and he's like, I'm like, whoa, hey, whoa, what are we doing? What is going on? And then like immediately somebody comes in, and it's like, yo.
And the show does these things as like one-offs, right?
Yeah.
And like the other one that really pissed me off, and like this was something that Drake mentioned on one of the episodes. Or no, I think he posted it on his personal channel, FS or something. But it's the scene where they capture McKee from like a Covenant derelict ship. There's like, oh, they abandoned me. Like everybody left ship. Somebody please help me. And then it's just like they like get her on board. They check her. They pat her down. And then it's like without question, the captain of the ship walks up to her. Welcome aboard.
Yeah, exactly.
What?
You wouldn't be like 3 layers deep in security at that point for somebody you've never met coming from a derelict ship. Like, bro,
all security all security systems at 11. I am not chancing that. I don't care. I don't care if she's a human coming off a Covenant ship. This is sketchy. Yeah. And like they're just, well, here she is, and then the worms coming out of the wall, like.
Yeah, I mean, the hunter worms have a little bit of lore.
I mean, it makes sense. Yes, it works.
The handshake very much felt like them needing to telegraph, hey, they've let their guard down.
Yeah. And it's a bad way of doing it.
And that was it. It's another 5-second little, it had the same vibes as the doctor going in for the kiss on Cortana. The doctor going for the kiss on Cortana.
Yeah, same exact.
The same thing where it's like it's. It had the same energy where yeah, it just came out of left field, and it's like, oh, he's a creep, and they're just like, and they're like, yeah, but that's the end of that. Like
It doesn't take it anywhere else. It's just like, okay, there's a creep, and we don't explore that ever again.
Yeah, exactly. Like, all right, well, now he's a just want to throw that little fact in there. Now we're going to continue with our regular show.
Yeah, yeah, pretty much.
Do I have to censor that word for YouTube? I shouldn't have to, but
What word? Yes.
Oh, you do have to?
I think so.
Ugh. We shouldn't
You can't
have
say
I don't
you
care.
can't say anything anymore.
All right.
Can't really. Now, I would just, if it were me, I would just like every word, probably just make like a clever like sound bite for it, and that's it.
Okay. This sequence, okay, what was it? Episode 6 was Solace. Did we touch up on this? So I know why they did the McKee thing getting captured, and it was for the recording of when the Keys' daughter Miranda. When Miranda catches that the recording, she decrypts it. She's like, "Oh no, that was her. She set up the trap." And like, I understand that's what the scenario was set up for, but it's so bad. The writing doesn't work for. I mean, it works, and it's boring. It's not interesting. It was done in a very wrong way.
And here's what I'll say. One thing. This goes through a lot of the characters that were also in Halo 2, right? Mm-hmm. So, where is Sgt Johnson? Where is he? Where is he? You want to have diversity in your show, and you don't include one of the coolest, most badass characters in the entire lore that isn't Master Chief? I don't know what y'all doing, but I don't know.
So, like,
They had to make room for Key's daughter.
so, dude, okay, so this is the thing that like got me off guard, right? Because I actually do like Captain Keyes' actor. Like, he actually portrayed Keyes pretty well to me. He's actually not bad. Like, I don't mind the race swapping here. What I do mind is that your top player, Sgt Johnson, wasn't in this whatsoever. I don't know if you guys plan on.
Again, we've got this whole other new storyline with Keyes' daughter, and this whole other we have to keep on sidebarring stuff from the video games that, like you said, top selling. It's what most people are going to connect to with the show. Let's shove that to the side to add in Kwan and all this other stuff that
I would have rather had explore. If you're gonna explore female characters, Kai works, Miranda works. Kwan does not. Kwan does not work. Kwan does not work. I wasn't like, I know why Miranda's story is in here, and it really is just to set up the strings and tension as to what's going on, and when things go awry in episode, what is that, 7 or 8? Yeah. No, I think it's 8. Yeah. McKee betrays Chief at episode 8. Yeah. And because one of the reasons being that she got caught. She was found out by Miranda.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, side nugget real quick. Paramount 343, what are you doing? Chief's love interest? That's Cortana, you idiots.
No, it's I wouldn't say it's Cortana. What are you talking about?
Of course it is. In Halo 4, the only time that Chief ever expresses an interest other than basic understanding of his environment is in Halo 4. 343 Industries is responsible for this. They were the ones that in the Halo 4 storyline finally gave us the question of whether or not Chief and Cortana feel some way about each other. And at the end of everything, Cortana basically like disintegrates into the ether. And he's like, Cortana! Like in the final, one of the final scenes of the video game. And it's like, what are you doing putting a love interest in a soulless, badass soldier?
We're not there yet. Okay, so I'm going through we're skimming through episode 6 Solace right now. And this is kind of like, it's more set up. God, this show has a lot of setup and not a whole lot of payoffs for all the setup that you guys do. Not a whole lot of payoffs.
No.
I'm going through the interrogation scene with John and Halsey. I'm going to skip past, just kind of reminding myself here what happened. Oh, yeah. So Halsey's trying to convince her daughter to kind of like work for her under the table. And Miranda's like, screw you, Mom.
Yeah, exactly.
And the communication between Chief and the Covenant spy, McKee. All right. This is where we start establishing a romance arc between Chief and McKee. So, despite the fact that we've already taken Chief's helmet off, we've basically seen him nude. And you really full send it with this one, Paramount. Like, I'm not sure if I can ever forgive this. Look, if you were going to go this route.
And Rush.
Yeah, and Rush. Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. Like, why did you have to do it on the episode after they basically meet? Like, if you were going to do this romance scene, I would have preferred you at least, like, have them introduce each other and have that tension there. But don't do anything with it. Just, like, wait till, like, season 2 or season 3. Exactly. And, like, why did you have to do it? Boom! Sex! Right there.
Yeah, it was. They had their little moment when they were on the ring, and then they had their little moment in the park. And they honestly, if they absolutely had to have this romance between they share the same DNA, right? We're all.
Yes,
are we all?
We're all on a.
We're all.
This is the same.
Everybody's aware. Okay.
I have to explain. Can I explain the DNA thing real quick?
Can we say incest on YouTube?
Yes. It's basically incest.
But I like they honestly should have just left with those two scenes when they jumped straight to intercourse. Man, so awkward and undeserved. Like they weren't ready for that part of the. I mean, they just skipped right to it.
It was basically like a glorified hookup arc. You know what I'm saying? Like it was
glorified Tinder date.
Yeah, exactly. It was like
Self-insert little moment.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like I don't know. My only positive about that was that they didn't go full Game of Thrones because please, I don't need that.
So
The Pornhub exists for a reason. We don't need it in TV.
I'm not promoting that garbage. I'm making that very clear.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm not promoting that garbage whatsoever on my show.
That's what I'm saying.
Where I wanted to talk about this, oh gosh, I'm like blanking on my point right now. The DNA thing match, like that was exactly what you said. The only thing running through my mind was like, this is technically incest. I don't know.
It's hard. Like, I don't know if I have enough information. I don't know how much DNA they share, but it was just another thing that came to mind. Obviously, I was like, I don't know. I guess I don't have enough information exactly.
I would have just waited on this romance art a little bit. Like, hold the tension. Hold the tension. That would have worked great. That would have worked amazingly.
And you know what does that really good? And we need to talk about this at some point on one of the podcast episodes. We need to have a field day with this. Avatar: The Last Airbender. You want to know how to make a really, really good romantic relationship last 3 seasons and have you waiting on the edge of your couch for just a sliver of if it's going to work out or not? Avatar: The Last Airbender. You don't get to know if it's going to work out or not until, like, the last episode of the entire series.
Ooh.
And there's other, like, really obvious, easy things that pop up. Like, you think about Superman and Lois Lane have this love interest story where sex is pretty much absolved from the story, and it's something a lot of people look back on and remember fondly. Spider-Man, what's the one thing that everybody comes to everybody's mind? The upside-down kiss.
Exactly.
Or them laying in the web staring at the stars. It's like there's so many other previously proven, yeah, and it's that decision is I thought it was insane.
Insane.
Yeah. I want to move on from that nightmare. I did not want that in my Halo TV show of all things. But like, okay, look, if you're gonna,
no sense.
yeah. Moving on to episode 7, I'm skimming through it right now, just kind of like remembering. Okay, this is Kwan's journey. I don't care for this episode. I'm really tempted about not talking about it, but I have to talk about. I have to talk about this spirit witchcraft stuff that's going on. Okay, so that like we actually went Harry Potter for a second. Like we did Harry Potter in space with Master Chief.
You're a semi-important character, Kwan.
Look, dude, I'm semi-important. Dude, that's okay. This ticks me off. This actually ticks me off. I did not come here to watch Harry Potter. I did not come here to watch Lord of the Rings.
When they gave her an entire backstory
Yeah.
of magical, of an entire planet we've never even heard of before, and they're like, the prophecy is being fulfilled. What prophecy? I don't even know what your planet's called half the time.
Yeah, we really could have done without the sequence. So in this episode, Kwan kind of goes on like a spirit journey to kind of find herself. I'm really getting tired of this finding yourself stuff without the finding yourself meaning being good.
Exactly.
Right? Like, which writer in the room has the rock collection on the shelf? How many crystals do you have, Clay? Oh, this one's tanzanite. This one's topaz. That's what this felt like.
Yeah. No, this one's tanzanite. This one's topaz. This is the one that my dad threw at me when I was like 9. You know what I'm saying?
Well, and this is the big reveal here, is her walking up to the well, and all our ancestors walking in line going, I used to walk to the well, and they used to walk to the well, and now you walk to the well. And that's our big reveal, and it was so anticlimactic. I mean, just dull and dry.
You dragged out Kwan's story for that.
For nothing.
That was not a payoff. That didn't work. And I don't feel inspired. God, is that a word that needs to die? I don't feel inspired. I don't feel anything. What I feel like is that I need to throw this in the trash. I need like this witchcraft majestic. No, that's the wrong word. This kind of witchcraft stuff needs to stop in this sci-fi thriller.
Well, it's like it's not even necessarily the witchcraft. It's the fact that it's like we have yet another find yourself journey. We have yet another prophecy journey. Okay. It's so recycled. We did this with Rey in Star Wars. We've done this with basically every mythological story within the past 5 years. Do something different, please.
I think the best thing this episode did was punching Kwan in the face 1,000,000 times by Chief. This was like, oh, God, thank you. Do it again. Please do it again. No, I'm not condoning. Okay, look, I'm not condoning that. But what I am saying is that.
You just reminded me. Oh, yeah, She first rolls up to this joint, and the lady basically tells her straight to her face, like, hey, you're not ready yet. And then we cut back to the Spartans for like a little bit, and it cuts back, and they're like doing the trowel with her.
Yeah,
and I was like,
they said she wasn't ready.
Yeah, they were super standoffish. Like we're not even gonna work with you. We're not gonna tell you anything. We're not doing this. And then they cut away, and then they come back hoping that you forgot that whole prior scene.
Yeah, you're like, please don't like listen. You gotta. Just turn your brain off. We've been doing this for the last 8 episodes, okay? You can do it for one more.
Okay, then we do this action sequence with her former Spartan buddy who's kicking ass on the field, and they have that whole fight sequence. They blow up the oil pipeline, I guess, and it shows the witches at the end, like, leaving? I'm not very sure. Okay, so yeah, what's-his-name gets back on his ship. Where were the witches after they blew up the facility? I remember that distinctly. I'm not going to spend too much time trying to find it.
I remember hearing that Madrigal, I think this comes in at season 2, but I'm pretty sure I remember hearing that Madrigal is one of the planets that got decimated.
Yeah. Some one of these planets.
They're all dead, or they're not all dead. I don't know. Not
I don't. Yeah. And like, okay, so we're back in this facility, and the Covenant haven't yet invaded or glassed this planet yet. Okay, I guess this is a thing. There are humans on this planet. Who cares? I thought they were like supposed to be a world-ending threat.
Yeah,
Let's
a world-ending threat, and your biggest threat is a doctor. Like, the entirety of this series is basically like Covenant thrown in here and there, and then at the end it's like, oh, wait a minute, the very same people that made us are the same people that want to destroy us, and it's like, bro, stop.
So this is going to go into episode 8. This is where all the string tensioning stuff breaks, right? This is where all the tension really pays off with Halsey, the Spartans, McKee, everything just going off. This is what the show does really well. But here's the thing. This is like the only point narratively that the show does well. The only point narratively the show does well.
So this is where, and there's a couple other times, but this is actually a convincing section of the show where motivations for the characters actually make sense. Like the Spartans totally following through with Halsey's order to just eliminate Master Chief. Like, yeah, that's how that should go. That's why we have an issue with Kai just removing her capsule for no reason, is because you look at how well the other Spartans follow orders, and so that's why that initiation for Kai is such an issue. But in the final episode, a lot of the characters' motivations and all that stuff actually seem to line up for once.
I'm getting really tired of looking at contacts of Mickey's eyes. Like, oh gosh, dude, I need to talk about this girl's eyes, bro. She's like bloodshot wide open all the time. Okay, this
Yeah, man, she got them eyes on caps lock. Jesus Christ.
Dude, I gotta. Okay, and the scene where he's like touching her cheek on the ring. This is like I'm watching like the recap. Yeah. That lighting is so. My mom watches soap operas.
Same thing.
Yeah, and like there's this one or two, like The Young and the Restless, or like I forgot the name of the other one. It has that dreamy state is very Young and the Restless. Soap opera like vibes.
Their entire environment is digitally rendered, so it just looks horrendous.
Yeah, I've always made these comedies of like, look, if I'm gonna make a YouTube channel, I should like watch episodes of my mom's favorite soap operas and just mock it because the plots are so dumb.
Why do you care, one way or the other?
Because I thought we were friends.
Dude, okay.
That's what this feels like.
Quick excerpt. All of you that like Hallmark movies out there, they're generic, stupid, and they don't have any point. They're the same movie recycled over and over and over again. You want to know the closest thing to a soap opera these days? It's a Hallmark movie. They have like 23 plus movies for every season.
Recycled actors too.
Oh yeah, at like every single time. It's like, dude, what are we doing?
Okay, this is dumb. I don't. Why did McKee remove the nail? Right? So this is the point. Okay, I want to recap the whole episode here first.
So I know why they did it.
He knows.
It's kind of hard to put into words. Man, I feel like that. I feel like it was the show's final decision on how to do a show not tell of how tempted she was to still fulfill her duty for her allegiance, but that she was kind of starting to switch side. She essentially wanted to just remove all. There's like a little second where she's like hovering her finger over his neck or something like that, and then it goes right over the sink and she takes the nail out like as to like remove that temptation. Yeah. But even when we were watching the show and I was talking to Gabe, I was like, well, either you want to do it or you don't want to do it. If you don't want to do it, like just keep the discreet fingernail in. Like who cares? Like make up your mind or don't make up your mind. I don't like I don't know. It was another thing where there's not enough there for it to make sense.
It's like morbid and trying to be a creep factor for the sake of trying to be morbid for no narrative purpose other.
To do that thing of like, like what you said, Colin, of like show not tell. This is her resolution, and it's like I didn't even know that existed until now. So you could have just not done it, and it would have been fine.
All right, so recapping the episode, they kind of wake up the next morning. They're in a dream state, talking. The Keys family about to decrypt the message. Oh, sex. Oh no, so sex was in episode 8. Yeah, dude. Cortana cucked.
Bro, and it was so weird too, because like if you notice, the score in this episode changes in that moment. Yeah, like it changes from like this beautiful kind of like synchronicity moment of like, oh, we're in tune with each other, and then Cortana enters and it starts going into a minor, and it's like it starts dissenting, and she's like, oh no, oh no, I was gonna do that. I don't know how, but I was gonna.
Yeah,
I
that.
totally forgot about that part.
Yeah, so like episode 8 is where all the strings really start to fall apart. Halsey tempts. I think that might have been the previous episode, but like Halsey tempts McKee. Not tempts, but like tries to tell her that you can't trust the UNSC. They're not to be trusted whatsoever. Blah blah blah. Keys interrogates Halsey in her living room. And they're still watching everything that's going on. Okay, yeah. Then she projects to McKee. Tries to say, you need to escape, you need to get out of there, blah, blah, blah. Just trying to sow seeds of distrust. Then they move into Halsey ordering the Spartans to capture Chief, or no, don't let anything happen to Chief. Mm-hmm. Yeah, by any means necessary. No, because they end up fighting Chief. They end up fighting Chief. So I'm wrong. Yeah, it was the part where they like pummeled Chief to near death if it wasn't for Kai saving his ass. And actually this was part of the episode. I actually really liked this episode. I liked watching all the puzzle pieces fall apart. And yeah, this is where McKee, if I skim over to like 40 minutes in, McKee gets captured because she got caught red-handed. Keys decrypted her message. Said this a million times. Moving on to episode 9, the final one. This was the best episode for me.
I haven't even gotten all the way through this episode yet, so Chad, I'm going to be watching the rest of it tonight. But yeah, I mean, your saving grace can't be one episode. I'm sorry, Paramount. I hate you. I hate you so much.
Gosh, the CGI started to take a nosedive, though.
I'm so glad you said that. I was just like, right before you said that, I was just thinking that, like, as you're kind of rolling over the footage, I'm like, this episode was cool, but there were some shots, and there was some, I mean, oh, jeez.
All right, I'm actually going to call this podcast done at episode 8 because we are going to start reviewing season 2 at episode 4. Is where they're at. And season 2 has already been kind of a slow burn. I want to start the next podcast off with a little bit of a recap of the ending of season 1 going right into 2. Yeah. So I'm actually going to call it there for tonight. Overall, what's your guys' opinions on the Halo show of season 1? It looks like you have a lot more to say.
Put it at a brief recap. Ladies and gentlemen who are going to watch this, remember this lesson when we keep talking about this series in Paramount. I hope you see this one day. Take this as a reminder that you need to stick to the source material, and going a route to where you want to try to appease everybody and you want to include all these new ideas. If it ain't broke, don't fix it, especially if it's working really, really well. I don't care what your interpretation of this series is and what you want it to be. And I don't care if you think it's a niche topic and not a lot of people are going to be into it, so we want to open it up to a broader audience. You have a broad audience. Everybody from 2007 came to this series just to see if it was going to be good or not. You don't need to change things just to make it better. It already was better. So let this be a lesson in future television development. Just make good stories. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Like I said before, just make good television.
I couldn't have said it better. Yeah, that really is the whole kit and caboodle of the whole thing. And that's gonna be it for us, ladies and gentlemen.